Okay, I start to
Definitely
hear.
record as well because I have zero experience with this bot.
So many sounds. I need to somehow resist the urge to look at Discord during all of this. All of the sounds.
Oh, do you have any questions, Heiho, before?
Before I know, I
Okay.
think I know how to say pretty much everything.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's not really any names besides Petiku, so you can just anything you like. You can put a unique pronunciation on it.
Yeah, I wanted to say Petit Cruise, so it should be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know how to say words.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Do I know how does this work? Yeah. I think that's everybody probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will mute myself now and let Heiho run the show.
Okay. And I think I'll just start. Something like that. Ah, nervous. Okay, we are reading The Best Dog in the World from ooh, I actually forgot how to say your name. Okay. Pettigrew was no ordinary dog. And not just because he lived in a castle and dined on mutton and liver. No, it was more than that. You see, Pettigrew was the best dog in the world. He did not know if it was because of his velvety blue coat or his wet brown nose or his soft round ears. But it was something that he had been told all his life, and after the 100th time hearing it, he began to believe it himself and decided it must be true. Pettigrew had no master. He was master of himself, and every day he went where he pleased and did as he liked. He pranced about the royal grounds, wagging his long whip of a tail, and at night he slept on whichever finely woven rug he chose. He knew that he was different from other dogs, not just because he was the best dog in the world, but also because he had a special gift. He could make people happy simply by appearing. He could not help it any more than he could understand it, but everywhere that Pettigrew went, happiness seemed to follow. He knew how rare a gift this was. That is why he spent so much time visiting as many people as he could. It was often tiring work, but he was careful to take plenty of naps throughout the day, so as not to spread himself too thin. Luckily, he seemed to bring just as much joy when in repose as he did when he was awake. So little was lost by his proclivity for a nice long wink. Pettigrew liked making people happy, and in fact, his work as bringer of joy was doubly rewarding. For he found that if you made people happy, they were more apt to do things like feed you table scraps and rub your belly and scratch the spot between your shoulder blades that you can never seem to reach yourself. And even Pettigrew knew that there was more to life than work. It was also important to pursue one's own interests. And Pettigrew's primary interest was his greatest pleasure outside of spreading joy was sniffing out mischief. Sniffing out mischief was great fun, and once you learned to do it, it was not so difficult. The best way to sniff out mischief, Pettigrew found, was by going somewhere you weren't supposed to be and doing something you knew you weren't supposed to do. This could be running through the kitchens after the cook, snapping at his heels, sneaking into someone else's bedchambers and wetting their blankets, or even something simple as like pulling a turkey off a table or jumping into the bath with someone. But the best part of sniffing out mischief, the thing that made it all feel worthwhile, was the chase. The chase did not always happen as a matter of course, but if you did things right, you could get lucky and the chase, once it began, might go on for hours. The most certain way to instigate the chase was to take something that someone wanted very much, something which they did not want you to have. It was a fine summer day when Pettigrew found himself lying in the grass wondering if he shouldn't sniff out some mischief. He had spent all morning delivering happiness among the guardsmen who stood outside the castle gates and had just woken up from a hard-earned nap. He let out a great yawn, stretched his legs as long as he could. He was a bit sleepy, and the sun felt warm and wonderful on his shiny blue coat. He licked his paws, which tasted deliciously of earth, and thought about going back to sleep. But then he heard a noise. Splash! His ears perked up. He knew that sound. It was the sound of water. Splash! The noise came again. Pettigrew gathered his energy and rose to his 4 nimble paws. He was curious to find the source of the sound, though he was fairly certain he knew from where it had come, but not before taking another long, nice stretch. He allowed himself one final yawn for good measure, and then he padded off in the direction of the lake. Sure enough, when he got there, he found 2 humans gliding about in the cool blue water. He crept around the bushes, wondering if it mightn't be fun to spring out suddenly and leap into the water between them and splash all about. If he was lucky, he might even startle them so much they would wave their arms around and scream all the way to the shore, where they would clamber out of the water and run as fast as they could. Yes, that did sound like a good deal of fun. But before he could find a good spot between the shrubs from which to pounce, Pettigrew smelled something. It was a wonderful musky smell. He pressed his nose to the ground, trying to trace where the scent was coming from. He sniffed and found little more than worms. He lifted his nose up into the air. The smell wasn't coming from the ground, it was coming from above him. He looked up, and that's when he saw it. It was some sort of human thing, a cloth that had been hung atop the bushes. Pettigrew sniffed at it. It smelled of sweat and goose grease and a million other delightful things. He pressed his nose into it, reveling in the strange amalgamation of scents. It must be someone's clothing, he realized. Perhaps the humans swimming about the lake. Pettigrew stuck out his long pink tongue and licked. The clothing did not taste of much, and such a disappointed was this to the slender blue dog that he nearly turned and left then and there. But then he had an idea. The chase. What better way to instigate the chase than to take the humans' clothing, which he was certain they would want, and which he was certain they wouldn't want him to have, and abscond with it. Pettigrew had hardly ever been so proud of himself. Even if he was the best dog in the world, this was a clever scheme indeed. Wasting no time, he stood up on his 2 back legs and snatched down the clothing. He was so excited at his retrieval, he nearly ran off straight away. But then he remembered something. In order for the chase to work, you must let the humans catch you in the act of instigation. With a full mouth full of linen, Pettigrew walked out from behind the bush and stood along the edge of the lake, where he was certain the humans could see him. All that was left to do now was wait. He could hear the humans laughing, the voice of a man and woman whispering to one another as they floated about in the water. They seemed somewhat distracted, and he hoped he would not have to wait long. But it was no more than a few moments before he heard the sound he had been waiting for, a gasp. The humans had seen him all right, but still Pettigrew waited. They were coming towards the shore in haste. Their voices rang. Pettigrew bent his knees, ready to spring away at any moment, and the humans, as if in response to this change in posture, slowed their movements. "Nice doggy," the man said as he began to climb out of the lake. "Be a good boy now." Pettigrew could feel his saliva soaking the linen in anticipation. "Why don't you drop what you've got, and I'll give you a bone." Pettigrew's ears lifted. A bone! He liked bones. In fact, he liked them very much. His mouth began to slang. Bones were wonderful. They tasted of meat and marrow, and you could chew on them for hours. Now that he thought about it, a bone might be almost as enjoyable as the chase. But still he did not drop his bundle. The man was out of the water now, stalking slowly towards him. "That's a good doggy," he said quietly. "Drop it and I'll give you a nice juicy bone." A juicy bone, was it then? The man had mentioned that before. Yes, a juicy bone might change things. There was little in the world that Pettigrew loved more than a nice juicy bone. The juicier the better, he had always thought. The man was nearly upon him, his feet lifting slowly across the grass. "Good boy," he said. "Good doggy." Pettigrew watched him, and his mouth wet and hungry. Dash the chase. He was perfectly ready to lie down in the sun and enjoy his nice juicy bone. But wait, just where was this bone? He could not see that the man was holding one, and he hadn't any clothes. So where was he hiding this bone he had so readily offered? Pettigrew, it seemed, had been duped, and much to his discontent. But the man would not get away with it. Oh no. Luckily for the clever blue dog, he still held the linen in his mouth. And just as the man reached toward him, his fingertips extended towards the bundle, clenched tightly in the dog's jaw, Pettigrew ran. The man lurched towards him, and he was no match for the long-legged dog. Pettigrew looked back to see the man stumbling after him, but he could not keep his feet for long, and soon fell down flat in the grass. But Pettigrew did not stop. He ran and ran with such speed and glee, until the man's curses and the woman's screams could no longer be heard. When at last he had worn himself out, Pettigrew decided to pay a visit to the kitchens. He had had his share of mischief, and though he might spread a bit of his happiness, he strode in, having dropped the linen some time ago in some place he could not quite remember, walked up to the kitchen maid, licking her leg. She looked down at Pettigrew with a smile on her face, patted him on the head. "I have something for you," she said, "something very special indeed." And with that, she reached across the counter, grabbing an object which she then placed in Pettigrew's mouth. It was a bone, a nice juicy one. Pettigrew wagged his tail in gratitude and laid down at once to gnaw on his prize. The kitchen maid leaned down to give him another gentle pat on the head, cooing as Pettigrew gave her hand a grateful lick. "Well now, Pettigrew, aren't you just the best dog in the world?" And that's it. Yeah, I guess questions for L.J., if anybody has any.
Or if you don't have any, I can tell you a little bit about Pettigrew and where the idea came from, because it doesn't really attach so much to the rest of the story. It's just a side story that kind of exists purely for cuteness sake. But there is this legendary chivalric tale, Tristan and Isolde, and there's this magical dog called Petit Coyo, and he was, I think, given by a goddess, and he brings happiness everywhere he goes, and he has a little golden bell that he wears on his neck. And anytime you hear it, all your sadness disappears and you just become happy. And so, Pettigrew in this story is based off of just kind of this idea of a dog that makes everybody happy. But of course, as anyone who has a dog knows, like your dog is always the best dog in the world and will always make you happy. So, yeah, that's where Pettigrew came from.
Yeah, that fit well. If it was stressful. What now?
I see. Aiden Aiden asked what inspires you to write this story. So I think it is pretty much already answered, but I always knew that I wanted to have a dog in this story because I am a dog owner myself. Um, so it's just, of course, necessary to have a wonderful dog included in the overall story. Is it set in the same world as any other stories? It's part of, um, it's set in the same world as my main story, The Blade That Cut the Mouse's Tail, but I have nothing else right now that exists in that same universe. Is Pettigrew based on your own dog? Definitely not. My dog is a huge pain in the butt. She is a half husky and is really, I love her, but she's so obnoxious. And I think Pettigrew is a lot more independent, I would say, than my dog, who is very, very needy.
I am recording the chat too, you know.
Great, good. We need the evidence of the chat. So my dog, who I refer to as the maniac, her name is Ghost. No, she's definitely not better than Pettigrew. Yes, she has a very special place in my heart, but
I think
yeah,
she
as
will
I
get
have
her
said,
revenge for this.
she has a very big personality. Um, and I will leave it at that, so I don't completely slander her good name. And while I wait for people to type to see if they have any questions, I want to say a huge thank you to Heiho for reading this for me. I think it was really fun, and he did such an awesome job.
Yeah, thanks. I'm pretty sure this I made quite a few mistakes. I repeated a few sentences, but oh well.
No, they were not mistakes. They were embellishments. They were making it better.
Yeah. Intentional side effects that are there for extra charm.
Yes.
As
Yeah,
intended.
you did pretty well, Keiko. I did soundboard the splash part.
And that was the best part. That was my favorite part.
I didn't know
Splash.
how to do it. I didn't know how else to do it.
We're going to kick Jack out now, and Heiho will be doing all the narrations,
No,
especially ones that have sound effects included.
please no.
We have offers. Oh no, I thought A was offering to have splash animated. He still can't.
I mean, if you offer me some kind of payment in terms of sweets, maybe.
Ah, Pop-Tarts, yes, okay.
Or just lava cakes would also be fine.
Okay. We will start a collection and ship you a giant box of sweets.
Perfect.
Official
Or
sound
yes,
effects.
this is a good idea. Hey Ho can be the official sound effects guy, and
I
so
would
then we
need
can have dual narration.
I would need to be awake at the times when the narrations always happen.
Oh, fair enough. Or we can pre-record some and
Oh
just
yeah,
hit a
that's
button.
true. I could just record the sound effects beforehand, and Jack just has to press the right button.
Yes, that's the perfect idea.
Yes, the
Brainstorming
soundboard.
session.
Well, I am curious to learn how I actually sound. I never actually heard myself in anything.
Oh, this will be your first time hearing your own voice recorded.
Yes. I
Oh,
think
that's a treat. That's always such a fun experience.
hope
Indeed.
probably not. I will probably quit the video like immediately, but oh well.
Oh, does anyone know will this be in a YouTube video?
No clue.
What is this Clint Eastwood in reaction to? Oh,
I'm typing it in.
that's completely true.
Yeah, I think first time that I heard replay of my voice, like in normal mode, not studio versions or anything, was on public TV, no less. So that was fun.
Oh, wow.
How did you manage to do that?
I used to be teaching assistant and I did research, among other things, on AI. So the national TV was doing some AI scams, and I was called in as an expert to give like presentation in the interview on how AI scams worked.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
You can see people have a lot of opinions on this, and none of them are good. But it's okay, Heiho. You will be the exception. When you hear yourself, you'll be like, wow, that's what I sound like. So impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Splash.
This will totally this will totally do well for me. I see no repercussions for this, but I can't speak anymore.
Aw, look. Everybody loved listening to you.
yeah, it's calming. Really, you have a calming voice.
And it was perfect for the story. That's what I think.
I agree.
It was a fun story. That helped.
Yeah, I think comments are great. No wonder he self-inserts as Catboy in my novel, is one of the comments.
Are you watching the questions, Heiho?
Half.
We have one for you. How was it reading this story as a cat? Was it traumatic for you?
No, I do like dogs. I just like cats way better.
Way better. Wow. Okay.
It, like
Those are
like
strong words.
like every other animal is below cats, and there's just a gulf between them. Like cat is on the moon, and the rest is like down here on the earth, graveling around.
Oh,
Actually, don't know if I
interesting.
can make
Interesting.
a better impression though. I have no chips left. I hate them all. So no. Yeah, I figured, but I really don't have any chips left. I ate them all on Sunday. Ship me some and I will try.
Okay, we will add that to Heiho's treasure box.
Yes, I'm just getting snacks from everybody here.
And you're getting a lot of narration requests.
It's true. This Kira.
Yeah, you're gonna make Hidden Gems edition of Reading Rainbows.
Ah, yes. Okay. Do we wait for the chat to quiet down, or do we have any more questions? Anything else that we should discuss besides the snacks that we are going to send to Heiho?
We can vote in general on that one.
Okay. Yes, I agree with Aiden. If there are no questions, we can wrap it up and let everybody continue about their day or their evening, depending on where you are.
I'm just gonna go to bed now. It's late.
It is 6:30.
Exactly. Crazy times out here. I need to
Oh,
wake
that
up
is
in
true.
12 hours.
Can't sleep whenever.
I need
And
to
yes,
wake up
thank
in
you.
12 hours. That's
Thank you,
waiting.
Heiho, for reading. It was really wonderful of you. I appreciate it, even if it was outside of your comfort zone. And now you know that you have this wonderful gift that you can share with the world at any time.
That's true. Now I know how to get my snacks.
Yes.
Then have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Hey, bye
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.